In this lesson, I am going to walk you through how to use estimates in QuickBooks Online. So as you can see, we are using the Craig's Design and Landscaping Services sample company provided by Intuit, and I will share the link to this free sample file below so you can play along as we go. So to get to the estimates, we can click on New and Estimate here from the Quick Create menu. You also can get to estimates from Sales, Estimates. Either way is fine, and if you make a lot of estimates, you could of course bookmark this feature and have it here in your bookmarks list if that makes sense for you. So creating an estimate is pretty simple and straightforward. We just click this green Create Estimate button, and it looks like almost every other form inside of QuickBooks. You're going to choose your customer. It should autofill with their email, their address, any key information. Now what's different about an estimate is we can put in our estimate date, and then you want to make sure you put in an expiration date. So how long is this estimate good for? So in this example, I'm going to put December 25th. We'll say it's good for 2 weeks. Just like using an invoice or a sales receipt, you need to put in your product or service here and the amount, decide whether or not it's taxable. And again, we can add more lines if your estimate is for a big project. You can also customize this description. So let's say you wanted to add more details here. You could put all of that information inside. If your client has terms that need to be attached, you can use this attachments feature to drag and drop any other attachments that you want to put along with the estimate. If there's a discount, again, we have the option to do a percent or a value and add a discount here. If we need to be collecting sales tax, you can change which state is applicable right here, or which rate is applicable. You can also add a new if you need to. And if you don't want tax, just remember to unclick this box. All right, now you will notice here in my video, it says Update Layout New. So Intuit is constantly beta testing new features. So at any time, your screen might look different from my screen, but not only that, if you have multiple clients with different QBO files, one file can look different than another. So let's just click this button here and see what our options are. And again, this may or may not be applicable to you. By the time you're watching this video, they could have completely gotten rid of this, or they could have added it to everybody. So something else that's interesting here is Intuit is beta testing using AI. So instead of clicking Take a Tour, I'm going to unclick that here. You can see that we have a new design layout, which actually I think looks pretty good. You can add a logo to it here. You can, let's put in our customer here, so we have to refill our information. 2 weeks. So if they accept it, we can put who accepted it and a date, which is awesome. That didn't used to be there. If we need to edit any of their company information, we now have a button to do that. But what's most interesting to me here is that we can now autofill an estimate with a file, an image, or text. And you can actually just drag and drop. So if you have a client, or if you have been making estimates via Word document, which I've seen people do before, they didn't like the layout of QuickBooks, or they're using a separate software to do all their customer invoicing, and then you have to turn around and recreate those things in QuickBooks. Well, now you can drag and drop and have it autofill from a file, which is pretty cool. Now again, this is all beta testing and AI, so you know, it's take it with a grain of salt that it's not going to be perfect. Over here to the right-hand side, what's very cool is we can now customize our estimate settings right here on the right. Instead of having to go and create a template and then apply it, they're letting you actually just customize this estimate right here in one screen, which I actually think is very cool. So you can change any of the labels that are on here. You can edit your discounts and fees, add your payment methods and details. All of this looks very, very cool. Multi-currency, let me just point out this one here. So it says multi-currency. Never turn on multi-currency unless you're absolutely positive your business needs multi-currency. This is a feature that once turned on cannot be undone. And if you don't actually need it, it's going to create a lot of extra work for you. All right, so design, you can change your colors, you can change your fonts here if you'd like to, and you're seeing it in real time. For scheduling, you can decide whether you want to print this later or send this later. So either way, whatever you need to do. And then you have some customer reports here where you can see open estimates. So I'm going to say go back here. First, I'm going to hit save, just even though I don't actually want to save this. Oh, here, we'll throw this in just so we have an example. So we'll hit save. And then now we can click on this customer reports of open estimates and jump right to what estimates are outstanding for this customer directly from the estimate. So while I normally am very hesitant about beta features in QuickBooks Online, I would say that this does appear to be an improvement and I'm very excited for it. Now, because I'm in beta, the view is a little bit different. So if I click here on switch to modern view, okay, so this is what I imagine at some point everyone will have to see. So the modern view, and then you have classic view. So classic view is how QuickBooks used to look. Modern view is how they're pushing everything. And you just have more options here for design. So if we click on columns, you can choose which columns are included, you can add columns down here, you can remove columns by unclicking, you can change the order of the columns just by dragging and dropping, which is great. You can filter this. So right now we have a report that's run by transaction type equals estimate, which makes sense. We're looking at our estimates by customer, but you also could change this if we just wanted to see estimates that have been accepted. You can update this report and now you're going to see only estimates that have been accepted. You can change your group by, so right now we're running it by customer, and so it's grouped by a customer, but you could change it if you wanted to any of these different fields. And then we have some general options here, just like we have with all the reports in QuickBooks Online, to change how the numbers appear, if we want our negative numbers to be red, or if we want them in parentheses. And again, without having any data selected, you can't really see what that looks like, but I just want you to know all these really cool options that you now have straight from the estimates field. So again, to create an estimate, we're going to go to new and click on estimate. We have these awesome beta features here. We can also preview what it looks like as an email and what it looks like as a PDF. We can manage the settings, the way it looks. Also, I didn't show you this one. This drop down here, let's say you're creating an estimate that's already been accepted. So we can actually click accepted if the client has already said yes to the estimate, and then you have this option to convert it to an invoice, which is very cool. And if you have any issues while you're working through this, Intuit has these little buttons here for you to send feedback and let them know what's working, what's not working, what you love, what you hate, which I think is great. And the more people who go ahead and give them that feedback, the better these tools are going to get. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson on estimates, and I'll see you in the next video.